Hello, dear friends. Every day a mystery is revealed, even though no one has managed to capture a bigfoot, because they are a very intelligent telepathic beings and sense the hunters and hide from them. It seems that their mission would be to protect interdimensional portals. Yesterday, the ignorance and prejudice towards the Hindu culture, which is the most spiritual in the world, by some people who pretended to see a conspiracy theory in a beautiful music festival, left a bad taste in my mouth. Yoga is not a religion but a science. That is a set of mental and spiritual techniques to achieve liberation that come from Lemuria, in my opinion. That is why there are Christian, Buddhist and atheist yogis, and all beliefs are respectable as long as they respect the law and do not harm others. I am and I have been a lifelong Hinduphile, and I cannot change my feelings to please some people. But I couldn't study Indology because it didn't exist in Spain, even though it was my second vocation. I should have gone to Oxford University. Someday I will dare to sign to you in Sanskrit, but some people would criticize me. Opinion article. Payment to hunt a bigfoot. Oklahoma offers more than $2 million. More than 10,000 people have seen it. The goal is to attract hunting tourism. Bill to capture the creature. The Royal Society also believes in its existence. Is it an interdimensional being protecting portals? Cow hacks to relax from stress in Holland. Let's start. Oklahoma lawmakers have raised a reward for the capture of a bigfoot or to more than $2 million just weeks after a bill was proposed for its capture. This bill came up in January 2021 when the state finally took steps to allow hunting of the ever-elusive Bigfoot. It's not uncommon to find Bigfoot trackers stalking the jungle slopes on Ouachitas and the local tourist attraction. The Blue Zip Line and Farm even hosts an annual Bigfoot festival and conference. Republican Justin Humphrey introduced the bill to the Oklahoma legislature in early January, according to the Associated Press news agency. The city of Onobia, Oklahoma, already has an annual Bigfoot festival each October, so Humphrey said he hopes the official hunting season will coincide with the celebration. The goal is to attract tourism. The bill says that the hunting season would be regulated by the Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Commission, which would set annual date along with a specific hunting license and fees. It passed the law would take effect November 1st and in this year, 2021. A lot of people don't believe in the Bigfoot, but a lot of people do, Humphrey said. He suggested that creating a hunting season for the creature could help attract tourists. Republican Justin Humphrey introduced the bill to the Oklahoma legislature earlier this month. The bill says that the hunting season would be regulated by the Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Commission, which would set annual dates along with specific hunter licenses and fees. Humphrey represents House District 19, a southeastern Oklahoma area famous for its Bigfoot sightings. In nearby Honovia, enthusiasts add a law and legend even celebrate the mythical creature with an official Bigfoot festival and conference, which was cancelled in 2020 due to the health crisis. There are annual conventions related to Bigfoot. This creature plays an important role in tourism in the northwestern United States. For example, there is a festival called Bigfoot Days or Squatchet Days, a play on words because days is pronounced almost the same as days, in Harrison Hot Spring, British Columbia. According to Napier, Bigfoot has become big business in some parts of the US. According to some researchers, they feel that it cannot be regarded as a mere natural phenomenon that can be studied with natural science techniques. Its influence is part of folklore. More than 10,000 people claim to have seen the Sasquatch in more than 50 years. The most famous alleged sighting was captured on film in Northern California in 1967. Known as the Patterson-Gimlin film, the grainy footage shows a great ape walking upright like a human, away from the camera. Filmmaker Robert Gillim has always denied that the video is a hoax. While there are many who do not believe in the existence of Bigfoot, some have considered that there is a macabre objective behind this legislation. Experts in the field say that the Bigfoot is an interdimensional creature and protector of the different dimensional portals around the world. Hunting it allows other types of entities access to our reality, which would turn our world into a real hell. This is not the first time that a reward has been offered for hunting a mythical creature. In 2018, the Japanese video game company Capcom decided to celebrate the release of the successful Monster Hunter World by offering $70,400 prize to whoever proved that some legends can be real. The list of creatures included the Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, the Aka Algoi Korhoi Deathworm, mermaids, the Earth Hound, the Yeti, the Chupacabra, the Namibian Flying Snake, Yowie, and the Old Man, or the Mothman. Description: the Bigfoot, or Squatch, is a legendary creature with the appearance of a primate belonging to the hominid family, usually seen in forests at high altitudes, mainly in the Pacific Northwest region of North America. However, sightings of similar creatures have occurred in different regions of North America: Florida, Arkansas, Louisiana, or North Carolina, where they go by different names: skunk ape, stink ape, Florida Bigfoot, swamp ape, miaka ape, swamp cabbage man. These are usually seen in swampy areas and are characterized by an extremely strong and unpleasant odor. Smell. Excuse me. Some scientists, such as Jane Goodall, Grover Krantz, Ian Redmond, and Jeffrey Meldrum, have expressed interest and some belief in the creature. They consider Bigfoot as a possible descendant of Gigantopithecus, a hominid primate that inhabited Asia at the end of the Pleistocene, between 1 million and 100,000 years ago, and that would have passed to North America through the Bering Strait, as did also the first humans much later. Witnesses indicate different characteristics, but the most common description is that of a large bipedal ape-like creature, typically 1.83 meters to 2.30 meters tall and approximately 160 kilograms, with broad shoulders and a stocky build. The head is small, pointed, and low. Sometimes a crest on the top of the skull is mentioned. The eyes are generally described as small and hidden under a pronounced forehead. Except for the face, hands and feet, a fine coat of hair covers its body, usually brown or black in color, although it tends to be reddish, sandy, or with silvery or white highlights. The huge footprints, similar to a human foot, sometimes huge footprints have been found with pieces of woolly hair, gave its name. Ecologist Robert Michael Pyle described them as follows. The footprints are typically 38 to 45 centimeters long. They have 5 toes, a double muzzle, and an arc 18 to 21 centimeters wide. The sounds it emits are described as similar to high-pitched squeaks, whistles, or low growls, just like a bear and a gorilla. To some cryptozoologists argue that it could be a hybrid species, which perhaps came to America through the Bering Strait during the last ice age, just as did the ancestors of Native American peoples and various species of animals that may have made it at that time and generated their existence. It's also believed that it could be related to the mythical creature called Wendigo. Sightings. Most sightings of the Bigfoot are nocturnal, which leads one to believe that the Bigfoot is a nocturnal creature. Some witnesses mention something Pyle calls a reddish eye glow, similar to the glow in the eyes of some nocturnal animals. Usually solitary individuals are sighted rarely in pairs or family groups, and sighting of males are more common than females. However, there have been sightings in broad daylight, such as the 1974 sighting in southern Florida in the Big Cypress National Preserve marsh area, which was recorded in full sunlight by Dave Shelley. One of the most controversial and criticized evidence for alleged use of Photoshop and artifices are the video captures made by Todd Standing in Sylvanic Valley, an area located in British Columbia in the year 2007. The images that can be observed show two large hominids with chromatic and physiognomic divergences, which to the scientific eye show a non-existent naturalness, because both individuals during the minutes of filming do not show any reaction to the visual stimuli or of the environment, except for the one shown in the tape video 5, which exhibits a rather mechanical blinking. The muscular action is small, generally unconscious, and very fast, performed in a fraction of a second. In the other possible Sasquatch found in the tape video 4, the anatomy of the eyes is quite uniform, and the absence of the lacrimal caruncule is observed. Even so, the fact that they are authentic specimens cannot be ruled out, but at the same time, the doubt remains open until more evidence can refute or verify the event. Throughout, other tapes recorded by Top, acoustic emissions produced by a supposed group of Sasquatches can be heard. Also, along with Jeffrey Meldrum, the researcher found tracks suggesting current activity and the production of teepee-shaped territory makers, fairly sophisticated actions that show a complex mind. Traces and opinions. Although there is still no evidence to be sure of their existence, institutions such as the Royal Society have taken the matter seriously and have published the results of 2 samples sent to their laboratories. In an article published in its journal, the Royal Society, the oldest scientific society in the United Kingdom, stated that modern science has largely avoided this field, and advocates often complain that they have been rejected by science. No remains of any specimens, carcasses, bones, skin, fur, hairs, droppings, or other physical traces have been found that have not been identified as being from another known animal. The only traces available are footprints, the occasional faded and distant photo, recordings of questioned authenticity, and the observations of witnesses. However, reliable witnesses who have seen them include police officers or sheriff's deputies in charge of surveillance in various regions and towns in the US. Also, as probable physical evidence is one of the most famous videos of the creature, taken in 1967 with celluloid film impossible to alter with digital techniques that didn't even exist at the time, examined by various specialists over the decades without anyone having been able to prove that it is a fake. Those who defend their existence allege that they inhabit remote areas, flee from humans, bury or hide their dead, and other similar opinions. The detractors allege that with thousands of sightings, the population should be large enough not to have found any physical trace, and that there are not even fossils of any species that could have generated this being. However, some paleontologists claim that there was a species, the Gigantopithecus, which could have been the ancestor of this type of creature. Change of matter, of issue, I mean. Military tension. Unprecedented military activity in the South China Sea. Nearly 1,000 spy plane missions were combined with successive maneuvers by several carrier strike groups. Some military actions were camouflaged as civilian flights. The US repeatedly deployed various strategic weapon carriers, including carrier strike groups, in the South of China Sea throughout 2020. The intensity of this military presence and maneuvers intended to deter China's advances in the Pacific was unprecedented, shows a new expert report whose key data is reported in the Global Times this March 12th. Spanish frigate enters the Black Sea. The Russian Navy is guarding the Spanish frigate Christopher Columbus that entered the Black Sea. The country's defense ministry said the forces of the Black Sea Fleet began monitoring the movements of the Spanish Navy's Christopher Columbus frigate. The statement said The note adds that the frigate entered the Black Sea this March 12th at 12 GMT, Greenwich Meridian Time. The frigate, according to the Spanish Navy's website, is the fifth ship of the F-100 class and of modern design and remarkable capabilities, and the sixth ship in the country's history to be named after the famous discoverer Christopher Columbus. Astronautics. Arecibo telescope collapse may complicate asteroid mission. The December collapse of the world's most powerful radar telescope, the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, will hamper some observations of an upcoming asteroid mission. The main goal of the Asteroid Experiment or DART mission is to crash a spacecraft into a small moon surrounding the asteroid Didymos in 2022 and observe how the impact affects its motion. The project may help NASA develop a method for redirecting an asteroid that heads toward Earth someday. Initial observation of that impact will not be affected by the loss of Arecibo, but follow-up radar imaging will be limited to a smaller, less sensitive radar telescope, the Goldstone Observatory in Southern California. SpaceX Starship lands successfully but blows up again. SpaceX Starship prototype, which should carry humans to Mars, landed successfully Wednesday in Boca Chica, Texas, after a 10-kilometer ascent, but ended up blowing up shortly after landing. The SA-10 model was launched after several postponements that Wednesday afternoon from the SpaceX pad in Texas and managed to ascend 10,000 meters in just over 4 minutes as planned, glided on its belly, rotated on its axis, and landed vertically. However, pending clarification from SpaceX as to what may have happened, the rocket exploded shortly after touchdown in a spectacular deflagration. Australian spacecraft can detect bushfires in 3 minutes. 3 Australian space companies have teamed up to launch a bushfire satellite into space inside a spacecraft with the key mission of detecting and tracking bushfires. The technology by Queensland-based Firefall International can detect and report bushfires within 3 minutes of their start. It provides automatic detection and tracking of bushfire by analyzing sensor images in real time and sends notifications and map to emergency service upon detection of a fire. A star swallowed by a supermassive black hole sends a ghost particle to Earth. A high-energy particle believed to have been sent toward us by a supermassive black hole hundreds of millions of years ago collided with Earth and offered astronomers a rare glimpse of black holes. Supermassive black holes are giants that lurk at the centers of galaxies. Their gravitational force is so strong that if an unlucky star gets too close to it, it will be torn apart. Newly discovered rocky exoplanet may have an atmosphere. A team of astronomers found a nearby Earth-like exoplanet that may have an atmosphere. Over the past few decades, astronomers have detected thousands of exoplanets, planets around stars other than our Sun, in the hope of finding one that might be habitable for Earth-like life. However, only a few of the exoplanets detected so far are Earth-like, and it is difficult to study their atmospheres. Psychology. Credit card purchases trigger a chemical reaction in the brain similar to addictive drugs, the study finds. In recent years, more people are said to prefer plastic cards to cash, while cards are blamed for causing overspending and increased consumption. The new findings provide what may be a neural explanation for the preference. Credit cards trigger the same chemical reaction in a human brain that is seen in those suffering from addictive behavior, such as drug use, and therefore may cause overspending, suggested a study published in scientific reports. Cow hacks to relax. They are like happy pills. Ever imagined hugging a cow to feel better during a health crisis? This is an option you can resort to in some places that specialize in offering cow hugs. In Holland, they call it cow hugging, and it's a pastime that emerged in rural Dutch provinces a decade ago. The purpose is to bring people closer to nature and country life, reported the BBC. The livelihood of the practice lies in the inherent healing properties of a good person to animal cuddle, where the cow's bodily warmth and leisurely head-beat can provide an incredibly relaxing experience. The same media outlets are at. Hugging a benevolent being of such dimensions, providing a back rub and receiving a lick is part of the experience that could help reduce your stress levels and stimulate oxytocin, the hormone released in affectionate relationships. In the West, instead of hugging cows, we are dedicated to killing them. There is a reason why the cow is sacred in India. Thanks a lot, dear friends, and be happy.